SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C Spire. Power your home or business with C Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C Spire. C Spire Fiber powers Super Talk Mississippi. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome in on a busy, and I mean busy Monday on Sports Talk Mississippi. All three baseball coaches join us as always, as well as Chris Malloy, fresh off an SEC championship, will join us to start the 4 o'clock hour. And we've got a lot to talk about. The draft happened. Surprised, honestly, that some players did not go in this year's draft. I mean, stunned is maybe a better word, to be honest with you. So we will talk about that as well. Also, major scandal unfolding in the college football world. I don't know if scandal's the right word, involving the highest profile quarterback in the transfer portal. And I see Marty's already texted, one of our resident LSU fans. We have a few. Boy, your Tigers dodged a bullet, my friend. Oh, you guys, feel thankful.
At least you got that.
At least you have that after getting swept this weekend. Mississippi State sweeps LSU. Ole Miss falls in the series finale to Georgia. Southern Miss moving up, just moving on up. They have corrected some things in Hattiesburg, it seems, and now hosting back on the table for the Golden Eagles. All that and more with you on this beautiful Monday here in Mississippi.
It is a great day here in the state of Mississippi. Fantastic weather. What does that mean for you, the listener? It means that you should be on the web, that's right, the internet, and booking a weekend stay at Pearl River Resort, because there are going to be days like this all the time. And you can go out and play some golf, or you can head to Geyser Falls for a great day with the family. Or you can go catch a live show. I was driving around in Starkville today, and there's a big billboard up. Gabriel Iglesias is coming back to Pearl River Resort, one of the greatest comedians in this country of ours.
And he's still got it, by the way. I don't know if you've seen his new stuff. It's hilarious. Still so good.
So go check it out, pearlriverresort.com. C Spire text line open to you, 601-879-4395. With C Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. That includes the new iPhone 17 or the Samsung Galaxy S26 for free. Free smartwatch, free tablet to go with it. Don't wait. There's more to see. There's more that's free at cspire.com or your local C Spire store today. C Spire, inspired by you.
Did you have a good weekend?
Aside from the baseball, I just had a great weekend. The Starkville Derby was outstanding. Getting to be the voice of that was a lot of fun.
And weather, avoided. We had bad weather and didn't matter.
Yeah, but by the time I got home, it was raining Friday night when I was out in the district, but beautiful weather on Saturday and Sunday. Really hot yesterday, actually. Got to go out to the lounge, see some of my old friends. Got to put together an awesome cookout and had a great time.
Yeah, crowds looked awesome.
The Derby was packed full of people. So,
I mean, they're getting to the point where change of venue may not be the right phrase, but you got to build stands or something.
When we talked about double decker with Kenny, we're like, this is where your footprint is.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of landlocked, or however you want to put it. I don't know how you could put up bigger, more bleachers and all that, maybe, but it was a monstrous event, a lot of fun. Shout out to Jay Perry and Bart Heisch, who were on the call with me. That was a lot of fun. We had some technical difficulties that kept us. We missed the first 10 heats, but after that, we had a great time. It was basically three guys trying to make as inappropriate a response joke as you can, without getting in any real trouble.
No FCC on
yeah, but we
stream.
tried to keep it as close to family friendly. Maybe my family, friendly, but it was a lot of fun. I got to see, of course, legend, King of the South, Brandon Walker was there. Got to speak with him for a little while, talk to him for a little bit. I got to meet his guy Cody, who was documenting. I can't wait to see the video because this, the last time they came down here was not great. Came down for the Texas weekend, and poor guy was just made the butt of jokes. Now he's going to look like a champ. And I tell you, everywhere he went, it was like, "Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture?" And it was good to see him. Just a lot of fun out there this weekend. So I had a great weekend. Plus, Zach Selman finally came through for me and got me a bottle of Selman Brothers barbecue sauce. So I'm going to do some barbecue.
I saw that picture.
Weekend. I couldn't have been more happy. He showed up I told him we were in the lounge, and I was like, "Come by, and maybe you can finally bring me that bottle of barbecue sauce I told you about a year ago." And he's like, "I got you." And he showed up. Not it was a bottle, a jug. So we'll be doing some barbecue chicken this weekend. I'll put some Selman Brothers on there.
Nice.
I had a great weekend. I had a lot of fun.
I just sent you a video because I want you to see it. So we went to we skipped town Saturday morning, went down to the Zurich, the PGA Tour event in New Orleans because we can't have the tour here anymore for whatever reason. So we got to go out of town.
As an alligator.
Look at James. He's just like, "Come here, little guy."
No, James. James, no. Don't do that.
They're just like, "Come here, buddy."
Don't do that.
Well, we went down there, had a good time. Such a well-run event. Cool venue, too, although it was out in Avondale, so it's kind of a hike just to get to the tournament. But watched some good golf, spent way too much money on literally everything, and, that's how it is. And then I love New Orleans. I make no bones about it. It's a great city as long as you know where to go. Yeah. Last time I went to the French Quarter, I was like, okay, that's enough of the French Quarter. I'm going to stick in Uptown Garden District, do that kind of stuff. But even though we avoided downtown, if you will, I still came back with like a sinus infection. Every time I go to New Orleans, I come back feeling crappy. And not like hangover crappy. It's like I get sick every time I go down there. And I don't know if you can hear it, but like I've just got a stuffy nose and a headache and stuff like that. Like we went to a golf tournament. I didn't go party. We spent the day in the sun.
Yeah.
And I still came back. There's something in the water down there that gives me a sinus infection every time I come home. But otherwise
it was good.
Yeah, just class event, well run.
You mentioned that Marty was on the text line, my cousin. First time in my life I can remember I'm right and he's wrong. When I was back in March telling him in April, hey, these midweek games LSU is losing, these are a problem. This is not a good team. And he was trying to hit me with, no, it's different on the weekends. They'll be fine. Mark it down. Aunt Shirley, Uncle Vic, I finally got over on your oldest son. I did it. It only took me 50 years, but finally I'm right and he's wrong. I'll take it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
So, good good weekend overall. Southern Miss gets a series win. Ole Miss, if you'd have told me that Hunter Elliott would not get out of the fourth and Townsend wouldn't get out of the fifth, I would have told you Ole Miss got swept this weekend. So getting one in that scenario is...
I can do the same thing.
Yeah.
State starting pitching this weekend was awful. State trailed 3-0 going into the bottom of the first in every game. In every game, it was 3-0 before they batted. And yet they won all 3 games.
That's wild.
So just a crazy weekend. Some good some heroes obviously showing up for Mississippi State, and 6 straight sweeps now for Mississippi State. 4 good ones and 2 bad ones, but they have not had a split series since the first weekend of conference play.
And now the projections are going to come out tomorrow. We'll talk about them tomorrow. But I assume you are going to see Mississippi State back on the correct side of the hosting bubble, if you will, after that. I think Ole Miss will be just right on the outside looking in. I think they're going to kind of switch places because last week,
could be.
Ole Miss was in, State was out just barely. I think you might see a switching of places, but despite the series loss, Ole Miss's metrics are still, they're fine. I'm not going to try to tell you that losing a series is okay. It's never okay. But when it comes to hosting, losing 2 out of 3 to Georgia is not going to hurt you. You just got to go get 5 more. You got to find 5 more and you're still hosting because your strength of schedule, your RPI, all that is still absolutely within the realm to do it. But the bats can't disappear the way that they did in Game 3 in particular. And, it's the first time that this offense, since this turnaround, has looked like their old selves in Game 3. Mm-hmm. They were largely pretty stinky in Game 3, and a lot of home runs in this series as well, which is a good thing. They put runs on the board, obviously, but some shades of like that. That looked like the team that started the season as opposed to the one that they've been lately. Yeah. So.
And then from the Southern Mississippi perspective, good week for them, up to number 8 in the RPI, so their hosting chances are looking very good. They take 2 out of 3 this weekend from South Alabama. Just got to keep winning baseball games down there in Hattiesburg, and I believe they will be a postseason host as well. I don't know that we're going to get 3. This game tomorrow night could play a huge role in who ends up hosting a regional and who has to go on the road.
It could. It certainly could.
See about that.
I want to tell you about this quarterback story, though. It's just out of the blue bombshell story from ESPN about I don't know if he ended up being the highest paid quarterback or not, but he was the one that everybody wanted out of the portal. And there's a real chance that he never plays college football again, not from injury, from something else. We'll tell you about that when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi, just getting started on a Monday.
From the Venable Sports Talk Mississippi on the SuperTalk app, your local SuperTalk station, and at supertalk.fm.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. So glad that you guys are with us on this Monday. So the biggest story in college sports today, I believe Pete Thamel was first on this, reading from his article at ESPN. Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brennan Sorsby, one of college football's top returning players, is checking into a treatment program for a gambling addiction, the school announced on Monday. Sorsby's decision to seek treatment, according to sources, came in the wake of the discovery of Sorsby making thousands of online bets on a variety of sports via a gambling app, which jeopardizes his eligibility with Texas Tech. The NCAA is investigating his gambling, according to sources, as the organization forbids athletes from betting on both college and pro sports. Texas Tech said in a statement that the university is, quote, committed to supporting Brennan through his recovery process and to ensure his long-term health and well-being. According to sources, Sorsby bet on Indiana football while redshirting for the Hoosiers as a true freshman in 2022. A season in which he played a single game as a reserve. The bets in 2022, according to sources, were on Indiana to win, and none came in a game in which Sorsby appeared. Now, pause there for a second. That is the biggest no-no. That could cost him his college eligibility. And if you're thinking, the NCAA has no power. When it comes to this, they absolutely do. That could end his college football career right there. If the NCAA can prove it, and it sounds like they already have it, he's done. He's not going to play college football anymore if he bet on the team in which he was playing. That'll end him right there. Sorsby's gambling has not drawn the attention of law enforcement, according to sources, nor has he been linked to anyone attempting to influence the outcome of a game. It was a steady flurry of small bets over a period of time. Again, thousands of online bets. There was even a report that said he was putting $1 or a few dollars down on balls and strikes while at a Major League Baseball game. Just, this is going to be a strike. Here's $1. This is going to be a ball. Here's $1. And just kept doing it. Really, really sad stuff. It's good to see that he is actually doing something about it. You hope it's just not a preservation tactic. Like, the NCAA, please don't suspend him. He's going to rehab for this. Like, it's actual, like, true, genuine Texas Tech really supporting a guy through a clear issue. Mm. But this is huge. He was the name at quarterback in the transfer portal. Millions of dollars or sent his way, or at least that's what his contract value is. And there's a real chance he's never taken another snap of college football.
Yeah, at the very minimum, you got to think there's going to be a suspension, right? A 4-game suspension, something like that. That feels like the best case scenario for Texas Tech in this. The worst case is, as you said, he never plays college football again, and that's a very, very real scenario. And even though he's going to say he didn't play in the game and he only bet on his team to win, he's going to say all the things that Pete Rose said, more or less. We all know where that went with Pete Rose, and I just the NCAA, of all the things they get wrong, they take gambling very, very seriously. It is really the thing that they care about the most, making sure that does not have a pervasive space in the sport. So they're going to, if they have to, they're going to send a message here. Like I said, I think a 4-game suspension might be the best case scenario for this young man.
Yeah, So what's interesting, too, is ESPN's the one that broke the story, and ESPN right now has a special where you can sign up for DraftKings and get $300 in bonus bets. They have a direct partner with DraftKings. Every time you watch ESPN, there's odds scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And, I've changed a lot of my stance on sports betting, a lot of it, because of stuff like this. I think it should be legal. And I hope this doesn't upset some people. I think Mississippi's approach probably is the right one for everything, where you have to be physically in a location, in a book. It's easier to track. It's easier to monitor. That's the current law in Mississippi. We have it, but you have to go, right? I'm not saying he's doing. If Trinidad Chambliss wanted to bet on Major League Baseball in Mississippi, he's got to go down to, a casino and do it there. And I know that doesn't necessarily stop people. There's VPNs and things like that. But I read an article a few months ago about how prevalent sports betting is in high school students, where you've got, kids are having a sleepover, and dad walks downstairs and all the kids are on their phones, not scrolling Instagram or texting girls. They're betting on the game that they're watching. And teenage boys... And how they're
back in my day, you had to go to the bookie for that.
And now all these prediction markets are out there. But you've got teenage boys, and most parents probably don't really know what they're doing. Some kids go around their parents. I was a kid once. I went around my parents to do things. The average parent
might not know what Kalshi is. They probably think it's that expensive cereal.
Exactly. So they may not even know what they're allowing their kid to do. But alcohol's addictive. Drugs are addictive. Gambling is extremely addictive as well, and we are just, I've got a phone right here. In Mississippi, again, I can't do it without workarounds, but most people, teenage boys and girls, have phones where you can download 7 different sports betting apps and get $300 free and just start betting on these games, and boom, it's instant. It's right there.
Yeah.
I think that we have gone too far, where you can bet on balls and strikes. That's nuts. Where you have player props, and how it's everywhere. Andy and Ari, who I like a lot, and I respect them a ton, they podcasted about this today. Obviously, the first thing you hear is a mobile sports betting ad. It's the first thing you hear when you listen to them break down a quarterback who probably can't play college football anymore because of sports betting. I think that the ease of access and how it's just everywhere all the time, every sports broadcast you watch, there it is.
Yeah.
Every commercial break, there it is.
Well, in every time
we've gone too far.
You see the scroll at ESPN. The odds
are there.
Not just the point spread, but the money line and all those things are on there now. Yeah, it is a real problem for people who, have issues gambling. And it sounds like Sorsby is one of them. So hopefully you can get the help that he needs. That's the main thing, because I promise you a gambling addiction can ruin your life. But from the more sports talk perspective, Texas Tech is a team that, was in the college football playoff a year ago. They expect to be there again. They're spending millions of dollars. Of which, Brendan Sorsby was supposed to be getting millions of dollars. Is he going to be able to get that money now? Probably not. If he gets suspended, he's going to definitely take a hit. And if he can't play at all, then he's not going to get any of that money.
And like we said before, I mean, LSU got lucky there. Now, Sorsby is a much better player than Leavitt. And, Leavitt just had pins removed out of his ankle, but he'll be there for the Clemson game.
Yes. I taught Mississippi. I saw it. I don't know what MSHS is, so my apologies. But I taught in Tennessee last year, and many of my high schools, middle school, high school, there we go. Many of my high school students asked me about sports gambling, or I'd overhear them talking about gambling. One of them had a project to create a business, and his idea was a sports gambling app. I mean,
that's how you know we've gone too far.
Every game is FanDuel, DraftKings, all of this stuff. Yeah, I mean you're just inundated.
And again, there's always workarounds, right? There's offshore books and stuff, but the ease of access. I've totally changed my stance on
I was joking, but when I was in college, if you wanted to bet, you had to know a guy. You had to have a bookie. I had a bookie. I had a guy. Operated outside the realm of the law. But that's how if you wanted to place bets, that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
And so, you'd get your little paper sheet and you'd circle what you want and you'd come take it to them and then come back on Tuesday and either pick up money or pay it off, one of the two.
And you weren't a high school kid with dad's credit card that was uploaded into your phone so you could buy Roblox or whatever.
I could spare for that, yeah.
It's, I think we've gone into the, personal responsibility is a real thing. I believe in that. People make their own choices, good and bad. I don't think government should restrict every walk of life, but, the whole point of government, at least in this country, is to step in when it's a threat to public safety. Mm-hmm. We have, constitutional amendments that talk about that. More on Cross in the Morning tomorrow. I think that this has gone into... It's crossed into a threat to public safety when you've got high school boys wanting to do school projects on sports gambling apps.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you.
Tough scene. Hope he gets the help he needs, man, because that you can my gosh. I mean, one night I went to the casino playing blackjack, and how exciting it is to win in blackjack. Whew. It's an incredible feeling when you win.
Winning in gambling is why it's the rush. The rush you get from a win is unbelievable. When you walk out of the casino with $300-400 more than you walked in with, that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
The opposite feeling is not as much fun, I promise.
We will talk about baseball. How about that? We'll put it into this conversation. Talk some baseball with Christian Ostrander when we come back.
From the Seabrook.com, the best sports talk in the state.
It's the best thing.
Say that again.
We the best on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the best.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. We go to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. We're going to be busy on the Farm Bureau guest line today. A lot of winners, and we'll get to the first one right now. Kristen Ostrander joins us right now after a series win, and it's already been well established. He does not care about this part, but moving up in the polls again are his Golden Eagles. Coach, last time your team went on the road, it did not go your way. This time, obviously, you go on the road, take a series. What was different this time around?
Well, we played good baseball. First of all, it was a really, really good collegiate game on Friday. Good pitchers duel. Our guy Graydon threw really well, and timely hitting. Gillespie with a big 2-run bomb laid off their closer. So just a good, solid game. Good defense, good pitching, timely hitting. And Saturday we kind of, we just swung the bats really well again. Didn't get a great start, but the bullpen was outstanding. And then yesterday, 4-3 game. They hit a 2-run home run in the 8th inning to go up, and you lose a close game. But just really good baseball. I thought it was just clean, and for the most part, and that's the difference. When you go on the road, you better play that way.
Coach, as a coach, how difficult is it for you to not take the 1,000 feet up view and say, okay, 2 out of 3 on the road, great job, and just do you hyper focus on what happened yesterday?
I don't. I can't allow that with these guys. It's not fair to them. Baseball's a hard game, and they're not going to be perfect. These guys know what we're trying to do, and for us to have a chance to do what we want to do, you just don't have a lot of margin for error, and that's unfortunate. You got to earn everything you get if you want to have postseason baseball in your park, or even get to play postseason baseball. So we're just taking it. They played hard, they competed hard. Proud of them. Move on to tomorrow.
A 10-run inning on Saturday against South Alabama. You don't see that very often. You said the bats were working, but is there more to it than that? What was clicking for you on Saturday?
I just think we got established some pretty good rhythm. We put pressure, pitch count their starter. I mean, he was, low to mid-90s guy that had a really good heater and some good stuff, good numbers, going into it for the most part. And we never allowed him to get comfortable. And they kind of did that to our starter too, honestly. But the difference was we had a bullpen piece come in and stabilize it. And they didn't, they had a hard time stopping that momentum. So, hitting's contagious, and that rhythm gets going a little bit and crazy things happen.
Just when you look at RPI, and I know you don't look at it as much as I do, but you guys are now up to 8 in the RPI. I've said all along this season, when you look at what you guys have done in the non-conference, beating Alabama, beating Mississippi State, beating Ole Miss, your resume is as good as anybody's is going to be at this point. How confident are you that when we get to that last weekend in May, you're going to be talking about postseason baseball at Pete Taylor Park?
I'm confident if we finish. We got to finish. We got to go and win games. Just like I said, our RPI will get affected if we don't get games. There's some places, some leagues that the RPI doesn't really get affected if you don't win because the opponent you're playing's RPI is so high. So we control our own fate, and that's comforting. But again, it just leaves your margin for errors very small.
How much can you quantify how much that matters playing postseason baseball in your ballpark, and not only just to provide a service for your fans, but how much do you think it actually affects the outcome of the games?
Well, been fortunate to be part of teams that's won some regionals, and we won one on the road at Auburn in 23, and that wasn't easy, but we were able to do it, and then we won one here in 22, and that wasn't easy. That was really hard too. But there was certainly an adrenaline rush of having your home park of, and that last game against LSU on that 22 regional was electric. We had home field advantage, right? And then even last year, with Miami here, it goes down to the wire, and so there's a huge advantage. And you want to give back to your fans and your community and stuff, and provide that if the opportunity's there. But more importantly, I'd take playing at home any day over, going to most likely an SEC venue.
We're talking.
We'd love to have you in Starkville, Coach. I mean, we love you up here. We'll go out to dinner and everything.
Man, well, you know what? If that happens, I'm going to hold you to that.
All right, it's on.
We were talking last week about teams peaking at the right time some. And is there still something that you're hoping your team can really iron, solidify, hold down? Is there something your team's missing that you're hoping that they can improve on before the postseason play shows up?
Yeah, I think so. I think there always is room for improvement, right? I mean, but I like what we're doing on the mound. I like the shakeup we did with the movements, even though Cam Clark didn't have a great start this weekend. He's human. So I like that aspect. I like what I'm seeing in my bullpen. I think they've responded to, the couple of weeks where they pitched, not really good and stuff. And I think our offense is starting to click even better now. We're starting to get more production for some guys in the bottom of the order. And so, yeah, maybe we're starting to hit it right at the right time. I sure hope so.
Coach, you have so many young arms in your rotation and in the bullpen, and this is the time of year, one of my favorite coaching cliches, right, is your freshmen really aren't freshmen anymore at this point. Do you feel that way about your guys? Do you feel like at this point, you can trust them in all situations?
Absolutely. Our starting rotation, they're all sophomores. We ran out several freshmen this weekend, out of the pen. They're growing, you can see it. Are they ready to be a Friday night guy right now? No, probably not. But, they're growing and they're learning. And, I think back of other guys that come through here has been great and on to great things. Their freshman year, it was the same characteristics. They grew throughout the year. And by the end, you're going, hey, this guy's got a chance to be special and stuff. So, yeah, I think we see some of those characteristics.
And speaking of Friday night guys, the guy who was your Friday night guy, Colby Allen, he got his first save of the season this past weekend on Friday. Pitched you 3 innings of relief, 4 hits, just gave up the 1 run. When you made that move, a lot of us were scratching our heads. Why would a team that's so successful at this point make such a drastic move? But it really seems to have paid off, and he's been really good for you guys out of the bullpen.
Man, he has, and riding him like a mule, man. I tell you, he'll go a Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, throwing 1+2 innings, and that's just how he's built. That's just how he's built. So it's right. So maybe, like I said, probably last week to you too, maybe I'm the one that should be scratching my head for why I ever moved him out of that role to begin with. So.
Speaking of pitching, Tulane coming. You're going to New Orleans for this one after they were at Pete Taylor last week. A really good game that you guys you left it late but got the win. Who's going to be on the mound for you tomorrow night down in New Orleans?
We'll start McCarty English. He'll get the ball and go, but you can probably count on seeing, a lot of guys. It's going to be a bullpen type day.
And that's something I've noticed. Every week we ask you this question, and it feels like almost every week it's a different guy. I don't know if anybody in the country has started as many different pitchers as you guys have. But again, that speaks to the depth of your rotation and your bullpen. This feels like a bullpen. I know you don't want to look ahead. I'll do it for you. But this feels like a pitching staff that's kind of built for the postseason, just the number of quality arms you have there. Do you feel like when you get into regional play that even if it goes wrong, you're in the loser's bracket, you've got the depth to pull out of that?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I feel more confident in that aspect than I did last year, than the last several years. Even the 23 regional in Auburn, where we came back and won out of the loser bracket, we did that with like 7 dudes. We got lucky. And but no, I think this one has characteristics where you're gonna have an opportunity for some guys to step up, and you go, wow, okay, that was impressive and much needed. So I look forward to seeing that.
One last question for you, Coach, and I asked Coach O'Connor this question earlier today, and that's when you're in the dugout, let's talk about this 10-run inning, right? And your guys are raking, and your fans are having a great time. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying baseball at that moment?
God, it's funny you asked that. You know what I'm thinking at that moment, being the pitching guy that I am, is like,
I bet.
Don't mess this up, don't mess this up. Let's get these outs. Let's chase it, and get it done. Because when you see your offense do so much, you just want to, you want to throttle them. And baseball's a tough game, man, so you can't give them anything. But, yeah, I was having fun. It was fun watching our guys celebrate and have fun touching home a bunch. But deep down, I'm going, all right, I'm thinking about how we get these outs. Let's get these outs. So.
There you go. Coach Christian Ostrander, Southern Mississippi baseball coach. If State goes to the Hattiesburg Regional, though, you're picking up the tab.
You got it. I've got you. No problem.
You heard it out here, folks, on Sports Talk Mississippi. Free dinner for me on Coach Christian Ostrander's tab. I don't know where we're going, but I'm looking forward to it. Coach, thanks for your time.
I appreciate y'all.
Coach joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team.
I don't want you to get that dinner because that means they're not hosting.
No, if he's paying, then.
Oh, so you'd be out at Hattiesburg. Okay, I want you to get that dinner now. Yes,
I told him if I go to Hattiesburg, he has to pay. But if they come to Starkville, I'll pick up the tab.
Yeah, I don't want you to have to pay. I want him to have to pay.
Yeah. So but you don't want State to host. That's what it is. I get it now.
Although I did see some beer showers in right field. I saw it, and it's more than one. Look under the scoreboard. It's more than one.
I did some investigating. There were a couple of Ole Miss fans there. They wanted to see what a real baseball atmosphere was like.
Beer showers and right.
They couldn't resist. We may have converted them.
I sure hope that they got their mandatory 48-hour jail sentence for doing such a thing.
I hope so too. If you're, that's not the real problem in the left field lounge, though. We'll address that.
Well, that
later.
Was in right field.
Well, right field. Well, the whole thing is the left field lounge. In my opinion, I don't differentiate. If you have a rig in center or right, you're in the left field lounge. But there was a problem out there in the left field lounge this past week, and we'll address that in winners and losers.
Beer showers and right after a grand slam. That was really electric, though.
I will talk more about that, obviously, throughout the game. That was a Dudy Noble Field moment that I've been a part of a few of them. That was one of them.
We'll be back in just a bit. Sports Talk Mississippi, Pearl River Resort Studio. Stick around.
And the Venable Glass.
Now we have a special surprise for everyone.
Give it to me. More Sports Talk Mississippi right now on Super Talk Mississippi.
It's Metallica.
I know who it is.
Yeah. Sports Talk Mississippi. Somebody says that was water showers. We don't waste good beer. I beg to differ, buddy. Those were beer showers, and right. That's what those were. Not in mass. It wasn't everybody.
That's what I say. It wasn't. There's a difference between I'm so excited I'm just
there was about
going
a dozen.
Up and down. It was not a dozen.
It's about a dozen in that. I mean, under the scoreboard in the student section in particular.
Hey, let's all do this because we think it's fun. That's
somebody was having fun out there.
Oh, we're having fun.
Somebody was having fun out there.
I think they just lost control of their themselves.
So, speaking of goings on in the outfield, you had an issue? Oh, winners and losers. You want to save it? You want to save it for winners and losers?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we can keep talking beer showers. I'm kidding. Somebody said, loser, Mississippi State not building an adequate bullpen for the visiting team. Looks very unprofessional and unsportsmanlike, with Mississippi State fans leaning over on two sides, ringing the cowbells into the bullpen. Some things are fun, but that's not one of them. I'm a Rebel fan, but even my Bulldog fans watching the game with me thought it looked really cheap. Counterpoint. This is an opinion I hold about all things. In your stadium, the opponent should be uncomfortable. That's the whole point of home field advantage. And so if students get to ring cowbells while guys are trying to warm up, good. And it's not students, right? It's not the student section's out underneath the scoreboard.
No.
I mean, I guess a student could sit on the berm if they want to.
At the berm, yeah.
But that doesn't bother me. Just like your locker room in your stadium.
Yeah.
Because people are trying to give State crap for having a bad opposing locker room. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah. And I guess, hasn't Ole Miss, like their opponent now has a better locker room as a result of like renovation and stuff? Anyway, like Iowa painting the visiting locker room pink. Yes. Give me more of that. At Oklahoma State, look at Oklahoma State Stadium, the football stadium. There is no room on the sidelines. I mean, none. Those guys with the paddles on the front row of the student section, if they reach the paddle out, that paddle like gets into the end line. That's how close they are. And I see that. I think, awesome, good. Make it as uncomfortable as possible for your opponent to exist there. And also, bullpens in the field of plays, a quirky thing that does happen in baseball. Like it's not unique there.
Not at all.
I like that though. Yeah. Have you seen? So I think it's Coastal, right? Is it Coastal where the students are, or is it Clemson? It's Clemson where the student section. I mean, they could reach out and touch the pitchers if they wanted to in the bullpen, and I love that. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. When you're on the road, you're supposed to have a little fear in you.
Yeah, doesn't bother me at all.
Somebody says, Ole Miss is a pink visitor locker room, too. I did not know that. Do they really? Oh. Should I know that? And if that's the case, awesome. That's what it should be. What was it? It was Derrick Henry, right, that was telling the story about how there was one toilet in the locker room at a road game once?
I think so, yeah.
Good, yes. You should make that thing not work, too. Man. Michael says Southern Miss has started escorting their own fans out this year for harassing opposing pitchers in the pen. I mean, were they yelling at them and giving them the business, or were they being inappropriate? Because there's a line that you can cross. If you're just making noise and telling him he sucks, that's not escort worthy.
Yeah.
If you're using particular language that I can't repeat on here, then that's crossing the line.
It can be different, yeah. Once you start cursing at them, you're gonna have a bad time. You gotta. There's plenty of ways to heckle and be creative and be funny without being a jerk about it.
Yeah. So somebody says I've always wanted the Ole Miss to put the away bullpen in right field. Wasn't that the case back in the day? And then they built that player facility, and also you could throw stuff in there. But yeah, I think opposing bullpens should be as close to the student section as possible. I do.
So apparently they painted it pink this past year. So there you
go. That's really funny to me.
Arizona locker room, when State played there, doesn't have ramps. All stairs and steps and tight hallways. Couldn't get any equipment or training stuff hardly in the locker room.
Good. Yes.
I can't be against it.
And make your locker room the most luxurious.
Oh, it's got one of those airport moving sidewalks. You ain't got to do anything.
We're going to have to put a pause on winners and losers until 4:37. Why? Because we have a winner, an SEC champion, joining us to start the 4 o'clock hour. Chris Malloy going to join us, and then Brian O'Connor. So we'll go Malloy, O'Connor, and then winners and losers. Sports Talk Mississippi. We'll be back after the news.
Siri, set an alarm for 4:35.
Sports Talk Mississippi is back. This is it. Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. We got to put winners and losers on hold, but for a good reason, because one of most definitely the submissions we would have gotten for winners and losers is this guy right here on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Chris Malloy, the head coach for Ole Miss men's golf, fresh off the SEC championship. Coach, I know it's been a little while, a few hours anyway, since you've won. Does that still hit you when you hear that your guys have won the SEC?
I got goosebumps listening to you say it. It still has not set in, I don't think, officially, but it has a nice ring to it.
Your program, multiple individual national champions. You made that great run to, we'll call it the Final Four. You've done a lot of great things. Players on the PGA Tour, Jackson Suber most notably, got to see him this past week in New Orleans. But the SEC championship was one thing that you had not done yet. How did you pull this off?
I'm still trying to figure that one out. We just had a group of guys that bought in, and they were tough as nails, man. They were, the lights came on. We played good enough. And the key to that, tournament is it's basically two tournaments in one. You have your stroke play portion that you just got to get in the top 8, which is, I say just. I mean, you look at our league. We have 11 teams ranked in the top 25. I think it's like 6 or 7 in the top 10 or something crazy. So that's a feat in itself. But we were able to get off to a good start, leading after the first round, and then kind of cruise through and got to the match play portion. And then you kind of got to, flip the switch a little bit and flip the mindset and get more aggressive, be loose, and just make a bunch of birdies. And again, they were able to do that where a lot of teams probably, tightened up a little bit and made it probably a bigger stage than it needed to be.
You mentioned the depth of the league, so we talk often about football and the depth of the SEC. Baseball, it's a great league. Softball, it's an outstanding conference. I know you're a big sports guy. Where does golf stack up in the league with the other sports in terms of difficulty and quality of depth and those kind of things?
Well, I was actually asking some folks from the SEC office about that while we were over there, and golf, if you go by the rankings, has consistently over the last 5-7 years, been the deepest, toughest sport that we have. All of them are tough, right? So you're kind of, splitting hairs at that point. But out of the 16 teams that are in our league, I believe this year, 15 of the 16 will get to the NCAA tournament. So there are no weeks off in a tournament like that. You better bring your A game. But again, that's what we signed up for, right? That's why I came back here to coach, and that's why each of us are work really hard to have the opportunity to coach in the SEC and to play in the SEC.
And then it can't be lost that, you had an individual national champion start his professional career, we call it midway through your season. I mean, that's got to speak to the depth of your program, right? To lose a player like that and still turn around and frankly, not miss a beat.
It's incredible. And, I don't think, very many programs can do that. And again, that just goes back to the depth, but it just goes back to the, sheer toughness and guts of this group that we have here. I mean, they never blinked. When everyone counted us out, the start of this spring, we didn't shy away from that, right? I use that as motivation for these guys and told them that everyone had given up on them. And going in this week, I kind of rallied around it and said the same thing. Nobody expected us to make any noise over there. No one expected us to get to match play, let alone go win the damn thing.
Kyle Porter, who covers golf at the highest level, I'm sure you're familiar with him, put out a couple days ago that Jackson Koiven of Auburn is possibly, statistically, the best amateur golfer ever. And one of your guys lined up and beat him in match play. What was that like?
It just hit him right in the face. Yeah, it's good. He is, and I really like Jackson, and he is. You hear the term generational talent, thrown around, probably more than it should be, but it's fitting with Jackson. He's great. Hits it great, hits it straight, puts the eyes out of it. Yeah, he's about as good as I've ever seen, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. But again, somebody forgot to tell Colin Strolio that he didn't blink. And listen, that's the other part. It's match play. Anything can happen, and it's a different style of golf and a different breed, and you better have the right headspace for it and right mindset.
It's so interesting you mentioned headspace. That's where I wanted to go next. Is what was your conversations with him like ahead of that match? Did you even really have to talk to him? Because as you've seen in golf in the past, I mean, especially with Tiger Woods' name on the scoreboard, other guys in front of him play differently. You have that phenomenon existing now maybe with Scheffler and possibly Rory as well. But Koiven could be that guy where his name scares you, but Trolio was not scared of that name at all.
Yeah, like I said, he didn't get that memo. He didn't care who he was playing, and it showed. I mean, listen, Koiven's great, but the other two guys that he beat down this week, they're really, 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 really good players too. Incredible players. So yeah, that's kind of, and it was Colin's coming out party. I just think that he's a really good high school basketball player. He's an athlete. He likes that one-on-one challenge. And it was funny. Ian Poulter's son, Luke, played for Florida, and we were on about like the 12th, 13th hole, and I looked over and saw, as I was walking with Collins, that was the guy that I walked with all three match play rounds. I look over and saw Ian, Poulter, stand there, and I kind of look over at Collins, and a light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, you know what? This might be his thing, right? And I do think that's true. It's certainly true for Ian Poulter, right? He's known as, he obviously was a great golfer and is a great golfer, but he's known for his match play and Ryder Cup success. And again, I think that probably at this point, fits Colin Strolio's mold.
Well, we need to get him on tour because the Americans in the Ryder Cup need some help. We need more of that out there.
Yes, we do.
So a little bit of time off now between this win in the SEC championship and then regionals upcoming. Would you prefer it not be the case? Would you want those guys to get right back out there right away, or do you like a little time off to let them settle down and refocus?
Hell, I mean, I'd rather get in the bus right now and go line up and play for sure. But that's the challenge that's in front of us is. We're going to have to maintain that edge, for the next couple of weeks and be ready to go when our time's called. And that's fine. Like this week was such a long week. This spring has been such a long spring that, they deserve some rest and rest is good for everybody. So we'll take this week and, we'll do practice. We'll dive back into practice tomorrow. we'll be pretty light this week, and you'll get these guys rested up, and then get back into a normal routine starting next week and the week after, and be ready to go.
Forgive my ignorance on this. The selection for host sites, obviously golf is not baseball, it's different, but did this change the opportunity to host? Is that already decided? What does that look like in terms of selection and those kind of things for you guys?
No, we're idiots in our sport. We got to change it. We put out bids to host regionals. It's like 5, 6, 7 years in advance. So these sites have been predetermined for a while now of where regionals are going to be this year, and that's just the nature of the beast. So you can show up, and most of these regionals will have 12 teams in the top 5 advance, and there are quite a few of these regionals that will have a team that's hosting on their home golf course that'll be a 5 or 6 or 7 seed that will play like a 2 or 3 or 4 seed. So it makes it a little more difficult, but it is what it is. It needs to be way, and I do think we're trending towards changing it to do what baseball does, and the best teams have an opportunity to host. So we're working through those things now, but yeah, that's as of now. We know where those regional sites are. We don't necessarily know where we'll be going. We'll find that out next Wednesday. But we'll be ready to roll wherever we get picked to go.
Well, Coach, congratulations again. I mean, you come on this show a lot because you just winning keeps happening. So we keep getting to talk to you. We'll be watching when regional play comes. Congratulations again, and thank you for your time this afternoon.
Hey, you guys are the best. Thanks for having me on.
That's Chris Malloy, head golf coach at Ole Miss, fresh off of winning the SEC championship, something that program last did 41 years ago, I believe. So been a while, but Chris Malloy's got that program just an absolute wagon right now. We'll go back to the Farm Bureau guest line when we come back, fresh off a sweep, and that is Brian O'Connor, head baseball coach at Mississippi State, will join us when we return.
And the Venable Glass.
Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
You're hearing Sports Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi. It rained a lot Friday. It was sunshiny the rest of the week. What does that mean? It means the grass is growing. It means you got to get out there. You got to get it down, and you got to go to Ag Up for some John Deere green. Right now at Ag Up, you can get the John Deere 3025E tractor with a loader for just $365 per month with 0% financing for 84 months. Great deal. Not going to last long. So visit one of the Ag Up locations around this state. There are 15 of them, so there's one nearby you. Or you can check them out online at agup.com. What's up on Sports Talk Mississippi? It's my conversation with Brian O'Connor. We go down to the Farm Bureau guest line to talk to the Diamond Dog skipper. We go down to the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Coach Brian O'Connor back with us today after a Super Bulldog weekend sweep of the LSU Tigers. Coach, in your coaching career, and you're going to have to go back on this one, have you ever been a part of 6 straight sweeps?
No, I haven't. It's pretty amazing, and Brian, how this one happened this weekend. I don't know that I've ever been a part of that either, where you fall behind 3-0 in all 3 games and come back and rally back and win all 3. So, college baseball is an amazing thing. This is an amazing league. And, it's just, it can be certainly a game of momentum. Obviously our team thrives on the momentum, and, that's worked out very well for us this year.
So you mentioned it right there. You fell behind 3-0 in every game. If you had shown me your starting pitcher statistics of the games, and I didn't know anything else, I would have thought your team was the one that got swept this weekend. How were you able to overcome the starting pitching? And then on that same token, Did you just feel like this was just a one-off and you got really unlucky that all three guys didn't have their best stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was a lot of it. A little bit, you have to give credit to the opponent and their approach against them. But those guys have, Tomas Valinkas has pitched just so consistent for us all year. And Duke Stone's done a pretty good job. And Charlie Foster has obviously had his moments in the starting rotation. For all three of those guys to get us behind in the game is pretty tough. But how it happened, your question is, we had great relief pitching. We had guys come in, Jack Bauer in game 2 to do what he did, Jack Gleason yesterday. So, the starters really didn't let it get ever too far out of hand, and we had guys coming out of the bullpen that did a terrific job in the middle of the game and then at the end of the game, and then our offense just wouldn't go away. In every game they didn't pack it in. We continued to fight and battle, and by the middle and late part of the game, we were at our best offensively.
You mentioned Bauer, and I don't know if this is the right word or not, so if you've got a better one, let me have it. But did Jack Bauer arrive this weekend?
Well, I think we started to see signs of that, him turning the corner against Georgia when we brought him in out of the bullpen and the job that he did there and against Tennessee. And so he showed flashes of it, but to go as long as he did, to throw 60 pitches and as dominant as he was, yeah, hopefully, we'll see, what the next week holds and the next, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks hold. But a big step forward moment for Jack Bauer, and hopefully for our team this year that he has arrived, and it has to obviously do a lot for his self-confidence and belief that no matter who he's pitching against, he can go out there and do the job for this team.
So you got your first real Duty Noble Field moment this weekend with Jacob Parker's grand slam. I've seen quite a few of them. I'd put that crowd reaction up there with a lot of the top ones. We see the videos that the social media puts out with the players, and we see how the fans react. What's a coach going through in that moment?
Well, in the moment, as it's leading up to it, you're just trying to, manage their emotions and also manage the at-bats and what do we need to do to then the different relief pitchers that come out. And then, I just really felt like, Jacob Parker could be somebody that could change this game for us. We all know that he has some power in that bat. And, when that moment happens for that young man and for our team, obviously it changed the game for us. But, being the coach here at State and being in that dugout with that fan support leading up to that, right? I really believe that our fans are a big part of what changed that game. Now, the players got to do it, right? It's not just the fans, but the emotion that they showed and the excitement building up to that moment was helped allow that moment to happen. And so, I said it after the game, this is why you wear this uniform as a player or as a coach, is because it's the most electrifying fan base in college baseball, and it certainly had huge impacts on this series.
I don't know if you've heard the radio call of the Grand Slam, but our friend Jay Powell at 2-0 says, "I'm absolutely not swinging here."
Oh, he did, huh?
Yeah. Said, "I think I'm gonna make him throw a strike." I thought that was funny as I caught that. Can a coach?
Well, that doesn't surprise me. A lot of people would think that way, and I totally understand that. But when you're down 4 runs, you can't think that they're just going to walk you to game, right? It's going to take a big moment, whether it be a big bases clearing double or a home run by somebody to change that game to get back into it.
Can a coach enjoy the game? Or is there ever a moment where you're having fun out there? The players.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, Brian. I think that's important. Baseball games are played so much. We have 4 of them every week, right? And so, I've always believed as the leader of the program that your emotions and how you carry yourself, your team takes on that identity, and I think that's really important. So, actually enjoying it and enjoying the moment and making decisions in the moment is vitally important to giving your team a chance to win the game.
It's time for our weekly update on Ryan McPherson, Coach. How's he doing?
He's doing great, Brian. Thanks for asking. He's progressing really well. This weekend, he threw a very short box off the mound, and that went really well. And so we're just continuing to progress forward. I don't know when that lands him in a game yet, but we're just trying to stack the days, so-called, of his throwing progression. And so still not a timetable to compete in a game yet, but everything is going as planned. And for him to be back in this season, in this regular season at some point, and provide everything goes well in the coming days and weeks.
You've got the Governor's Cup on Tuesday. It's a different kind of midweek game because it's a great opponent, obviously, in Ole Miss, and I believe the NCAA tournament committee, they count that as a conference game, just the same as they would, if it was played on a weekend. Does that change how you have to approach things? Some of your midweek games, you've been a little quicker on pulling pitchers out. Do you attack this more like a regular game?
Well, you have to as a team. Now, from a pitching standpoint, it puts both teams in a challenging situation. Obviously, we used a lot of guys this weekend. You can't have any starters come back and pitch the game because, by the way, we got a pretty important series at Texas this weekend. But our approach will be to pour everything into it and win the game. The challenge both teams have, Brian, in a game like this is, who all did they use out of the bullpen this weekend and who's available from a pitching standpoint? So, we're obviously going to need guys to step up on the mound that maybe haven't pitched in a while. That's just is what it is. And so, but our approach will be to pour everything into it to try to win it.
So along those lines, have you settled on a starter for Tuesday?
I have not yet. We're still, we got practice today and still want to do a check on some guys to decide which way we go on that.
You got 3 opponents left in conference play. If you look at the RPI, they're number 3, number 5, and number 6. So no rest for the weary on this one, Coach. How do you feel about the way your team is playing going into these final 3 weeks of the season?
Well, I feel great. I think we've won 7 or 8 in a row. Obviously playing with a lot of momentum. And, as I look at it, is the last 3 SEC opponents at Texas, Auburn at home, and at Texas A&M, all with better RPIs than us. It's a great opportunity. That's what it is. It's an opportunity for us to capture what we want to try to be able to do, in the postseason in a big picture wise, but we just got to continue to have the right mentality and, go after the one in front of us. But I look at it as a terrific opportunity.
Bulldogs and Rebels Tuesday in Pearl for the Governor's Cup, and then State on the road this weekend to take on the Texas Longhorns. Coach O'Connor, appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Back on Sports Talk Mississippi, back in just a minute.
From the Seabrook.com. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Boom! Are you ready for some football? On Super Talk Mississippi.
All right, let's do it. It's a little bit later than usual, but you know the drill. 4 o'clock hour on a Monday. Winners and losers.
We got winners. We got losers.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser.
What did you like from the weekend? What did you not like from the weekend? Text them on the C Spire text line 601-879-4395. All right, hey, had a winner.
Well, it would be remiss not to go with Jacob Parker, I think. You know, as I mentioned in my interview with Coach O'Connor, and real quick, I asked him about a midweek starter. State has since announced that Brendan Sweeney will be on the hill tomorrow night in the Governor's Cup. But for Parker, you know, that moment is in the it's not the same amount of meaning that a postseason home run would have, but in terms of just what it did for the crowd, it's up there with the Burke Masters Grand Slam, the Elijah McNamee home run, and the Starkville Regional, the Starkville Super Regional in 2019. The place was absolutely bonkers. You've been seeing videos of it all weekend on social media, and you know the kid's just a freshman, and he should not be playing college baseball. Somebody should have met his number and put him in the minor leagues, but that is Mississippi State's great benefit that he is, because he is going to be a monster for these next 3 seasons in Starkville. And another freshman deserves to be a winner as well. Jack Bauer, I think he's starting to figure it out at this point. And you go back to the beginning of the season, he was throwing 103, 102. Great, but where was it going to be? Where was the ball? Parker says it all the time. You know, nobody cares how hard you throw ball for. They went back to the lab. They took him out of the rotation for a few weeks, tweaked his delivery a little bit, and you saw what he did on Saturday. I honestly think if he had finished out the game, he might have had a chance to be SEC Pitcher of the Week coming in relief. Completely shut LSU down, and looks like he's going to be a dangerous weapon for Mississippi State going forward. So 2 freshmen, Jack Bauer and Jacob Parker, are my winners.
Going golf, Matt Fitzpatrick. We already talked to Chris Malloy, so you know that's a de facto winner. Hey, the Zurich Classic of New Orleans is the only PGA Tour event where it's 2-man teams. Mm-hmm. Players join up together, and Thursday's round they play. You know, the team plays the hole, and they take the best score. I'm trying to explain this to you, like in layman's terms.
Right.
Friday's round is alternate shot. One guy hits a shot. The teammate hits the next shot. The teammate hits the next shot.
Right. Okay. I understand.
Only one ball in play. And then, of course, Saturday is that, and then Sunday is alternate shot. Matt Fitzpatrick is on the PGA Tour, you know, like a mainstay on tour. Great player, won the Heritage last week. His brother, obviously also from England, came over, played college golf at Wake Forest, has not been as good of a pro. Now, he's good. It's just he's not on the PGA Tour. He's been playing the DP World Tour and probably was going to end up getting his card, but still just more of like a mule as opposed to like a star in professional golf. They teamed up this week to play in the Zurich Classic. If they won, his brother, Matt Fitzpatrick's brother, Alex, gets 2 years fully exempt on the PGA Tour, gets into all the signature events, gets into the PGA Championship, gets into the Players. And Matt Fitzpatrick on the last hole, they are tied on the last hole, has like a 35-yard bunker shot, hits it, amazing shot, hits it to about 12 inches to send his brother to the PGA Tour. Imagine the pressure. It's a different kind of pressure, right? Playing for yourself, that's one thing. If he didn't execute, his brother doesn't get 2 years of an exemption on tour. It was amazing theater. And, of course, you know, his brother knocked in the tap-in, and they won the tournament. And so it was just really cool. And a dynamic that you don't see in sports ever, that Matt had to play well to get his brother Alex his tour card. It was wild, but it was really fun.
Very interesting dynamic, no question.
It was really cool.
That's cool. That's very cool.
All right, loser. Or if you have another winner, go for it.
No, we'll go to a loser because I've been wanting to talk about this. You and I talked about this last week, about fan experience and people selling tickets and opposing fans getting them. And, you know, sometimes you go to the game and you're sitting next to an opposing fan and you're like, well, what can you do? This sucks, but it happens, right? But what you don't expect is to be in the left field lounge and have an entire rig full of LSU fans. That is an embarrassment. So whoever that guy is, if you're listening, I want you to know something. You're a loser.
And how many people are allowed in the rig? As many as you want?
What's that like? As many as you can fit in there, yeah. I mean, because if you have a general admission ticket, you can go out to the left field lounge.
So it wasn't like a friend that was like, hey, I've got a couple of buddies in town. No. They're going to come sit with us.
This
it was the full
guy packed
space.
His rig with LSU fans. That's unacceptable. And I'll be honest with you, I hope Mississippi State does something about that. I don't know what they can do, but I hope something is done because that is absolutely unacceptable. It's one thing, like I said, for it's one ticket here and there, but all the people around you who are diehard Bulldogs, they did not pay the money it takes to be out in the lounge to be surrounded by opposing fans. Good news for those fans, they went home unhappy. So at least you had the experience at Dudy Noble Field, I guess, something else. But whoever you are, if you're listening, guess what, buddy? You're a loser, and every other Mississippi State fan thinks the same.
I've been fully red-pilled on this, by the way. I've completely changed my perspective on what you should be allowed to do with your tickets. Mm-hmm. I mean, Comrade Borkey over here.
Right.
You said something last week that stuck with me, that when you buy a ticket, you're leasing the space.
Right.
And I really liked that perspective. And I'm fully on board with, if you have tickets and you sell them and they end up in the hands of fans from other schools, I think State is fully within their right to quote unquote audit and stop that from happening ever again. I am fully on board with that. Your space is for your people. That is what you build. You build a stadium like that for your people. And yeah, you have to have an allotment of a certain amount that goes to the school, and that's fine. And look, I like going to road games and seeing new stadiums, and that's fine. But I think State, Ole Miss, whoever, is well within their rights that if they go and find whoever did that and takes the rig away from them, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because the stadium is
100%.
for you. It's not for them, it's for you.
Exactly. 100%.
So, I'm with you. I completely changed my mind on that. I used to be like, you buy the ticket, you can do what you want with it. Not anymore. I don't care. You're leasing the space. You don't buy the space. You're only paying for the opportunity to sit in that space, and somebody else is allowing you to do it. Full red pill. Crazy how that's changed. Somebody says it on the text line, loser Diego Pavia. And not because he didn't get drafted. He's a 5'8". What did he measure? 5'9", I guess, officially. So his size was going to be preventative anyway, getting him drafted. His attitude is horrendous. And he went from what a cool story, a scrappy underdog, taking New Mexico State into Auburn and winning, and then turning Vanderbilt into a wagon, and he wins the Heisman, and nobody believed in him. Great sports story. And he turned that into, and forgive me for being a stick in the mud, but vulgarity and just, the stuff he did after the Heisman ceremony, just that. And then, again, he does it here in a now deleted Instagram post. He goes undrafted, and he says, F, you can fill in the rest of the word, the NFL. It's like, buddy, just because you didn't get drafted doesn't mean that you can't go make a roster. They have an entire free agency period for people like you. And I promise you, at your size and your attitude, teams aren't going to want you around. But if you'd have just buttoned up, been a good soldier, kept your attitude in check, maybe somebody would have taken a flyer on you in the 7th. And I guess Baltimore picked him up right in that, who picked him up. But he's not going to last. Because who wants a third or practice squad quarterback who's undersized anyway that also is going to have an attitude problem? Nobody.
Yeah.
He went from a great college sports story to a bum in just a few months. And it's a shame that nobody influential in his life was able to tell him to stop.
I agree. It's like Johnny Manziel a little bit in some ways. I don't know if there's the substance abuse. I doubt that there is, but sometimes a little humility goes a long way.
Yeah, man.
That's what I would say in that situation.
Just instead of F the NFL on Instagram.
Did you say you won the Heisman?
No, he didn't. He got second in the Heisman. But goes to the Heisman ceremony, wins 10 games at Vanderbilt. And it was after the Heisman ceremony where he took shots at Mendoza in Indiana.
Yeah. Just ridiculous.
Just stupid.
This is a guy, again, like you said, he was, what did I say about him last year? The most popular player in college football.
Everybody loved him.
Everybody loved him. And then he opened his mouth. Just a little humility goes a long way these days, man.
601-879-4395. A bunch of them have come in.
You must have said he won the Heisman.
I think I did. I didn't mean
like
to.
Five people.
Yeah, no, he did not win the Heisman. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman. What number 1 overall? Obviously in the draft. Also updated his LinkedIn. He's still active on LinkedIn. He got paid for that. Everybody, he's getting paid by LinkedIn to do that. But anyway, mea culpa. That no, he did not win the Heisman. We'll be back. Your winners and losers when we return.
Sports Talk Mississippi, your new home for exclusive sports coverage here in the Magnolia State.
Let me put it to you this way.
Right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
All right, we got a metric ton of them, so let's dive right in. Sports Talk Mississippi, Borkey and Hadad, your winners and losers on the text line. So he says, winner, RC for calling games like 23 hours straight on Saturday. Yeah, 2 9-inning games, and one of them went to 14. So
he had to work.
He had to work. He even sat with us for a little bit on Friday, which was a nice treat for the...
He's going to need... Super Talk's going to have to grant him an extra week of vacation for all that work.
He's already got 50 days. I mean...
Well, he might need 57.
Man. Let's see. Winner, Carson, is it Hoscar? Talladega victory lap, sitting outside the car for his first win. Sorry, I butchered that.
Holler at Gary real quick. He'll tell you how to pronounce it.
Gary's in the car punching the air like, Borkey, what are you doing?
That's not his name.
Somebody says, winner, me, Anthony, Starkville Derby, and a sweep over LSU on the same weekend. Loser,
Anthony's.
Did I say?
You said Anthony.
Oh, I can't read. If you have a position of power, and this goes for me too, I'm guilty of this, but I also am not in a leadership position of really any kind. You don't have to tweet. You don't have to. Sometimes, and again, I'm talking to myself here, because I engage with burners and stuff online, and I shouldn't. Sometimes, just don't tweet. You just don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't accomplish much when you do that.
I agree.
But maybe more on Mornings with Richard Cross. Let's see. Yeah, Chris brings up the 2 LSU fans that were sitting front row behind home plate. I saw that online. That was a point of contention this weekend as well.
Mm-hmm. Hosavar.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Whatever. That'll work.
Loser, West Virginia baseball, losing 24-1 as a ranked team at home to an unranked team that also happens to be your biggest rival. Ouch.
That's a tough one, yeah.
Gosh, a lot of... I feel so stupid for butchering that name because we've gotten 6 submissions for the aforementioned... It's not your
fault. You don't watch NASCAR. So don't worry about it.
A lot of people responding to the
Pavia stuff, yeah.
That and also the fans.
Oh, yeah. Well, apparently what you said about Pavia was what he did after the Heisman. And I think people think they heard you say what he did after he won the Heisman. So we may have been Mandela effect.
I think we were.
Yeah.
Winner, Jack Bauer, he's going to be a star. Justin Parker has turned him from a non-strike thrower in high school to a strike thrower. He's going to be unhittable the next 2 years.
The slider he threw that was kind of making the rounds, I mean, that's an unhittable pitch. You could throw that pitch to Shohei Ohtani, and he's probably not doing much with it. Just absolute fill. State has got 2 guys
Breaking. Hadad says Jack Bauer better than Shohei Ohtani. Sports Talk Mississippi.
Put it on YouTube. It'll do well.
It probably will.
But State has 2 players in reality, Parker and Bauer. They should not be in college baseball. They absolutely should be riding a bus somewhere in the minors right now. That's really, really something.
Pavia could have had at least an opportunity. You were right on. Too bad he did not have a good influence. Just think this will affect the rest of his life, especially after he gets cut. And I mean, I'm sure somebody at the UFL will give him a chance just to try to sell tickets and stuff. Yeah. And oh well. Winner, Ole Miss golf for winning the SEC championship. Winner, Maluski was the ultimate weekend winner until Parker said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. Kim Maluski hits a walk-off home run in the pouring rain. You think, wow, what a great moment. And then Jacob Parker is like, nope, I'm going to one-up you here, Chief.
Yeah. Somebody says, winner, Hunt Palmer of 104.5 ESPN in Baton Rouge, saying that the dude was way above Alex Box in environment and stadium. Well, I mean, eventually you got to tell the truth sometimes.
Yeah. Hunt's a good guy. He came out to the lounge to speak with me yesterday. Good guy.
You got to tell the truth sometimes, and that is the truth. I mean, there's just no other way around it. The box has some allure, I suppose, but it's not nice if you've been there. It's not a nice ballpark.
The box, the current box, is not the same as what it used to be. Like it used to be, I would have agreed, or may have you may have had more of a debate, but now no. The new box is very corporate.
Somebody says, winner Trevor Bauer, what happened? Oh, I saw it. He had a 7-inning no-hitter?
Oh, did he?
I think he's playing independent ball, right?
I guess. I didn't know.
Winner Ryan Rawlinson for striking out Ohtani.
Nice.
Dan says, Borkey, why don't you go ahead and say NASCAR isn't a sport? Buddy, let me tell you, back in the producer days, that conversation got brought up on this show. This was before Hadad got here, too.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember this, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Did you screw up and say that?
I didn't say it.
Oh, somebody else said
it. But people were so mad at the implication that NASCAR is not a sport, as said by somebody on these very airwaves in this time slot. People were
Don't say that.
So I have not seen anything that induced the anger since then that was received on that day on this show. It was wild.
I'm sure if you and I try, we can do something.
Oh, we could. But the text line was, it was hot. That's winners and losers. We'll get to the college football fix. Talk about draft. Who got picked and where? We'll do that when we come back after the news. Sports Talk Mississippi. Stick with us.
Your home
is a place for crazy people.
If it's sports in Mississippi, you'll hear about it here. Sports Talk Mississippi on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back. Michael Borkey, Brian Hadad. We do get asked, is there a chance that weather impacts the Governor's Cup tomorrow? Yes, there is a chance. We have no word of any kind quite yet. But, looking at the forecast, the hourly at 5 o'clock is the farthest that it goes reliably anyway. And no rain in the forecast until 5. But there is a chance there's a system coming down sometime tomorrow. So we'll, of course, monitor that and keep you updated. We also got asked if it's going to be on TV. It's currently listed as streaming. We'll see. But that is what they have listed, that it will be available to watch. So we'll, of course, talk about that tomorrow. And I'll get Mike Bianco's pitching plan, or if they're willing to reveal it, coming up here in about 13 minutes from right now. But right now, it's time for the College Football Fix.
The College Football Fix is driven by your Mississippi Ford dealers. Built Ford Tough. Well, that's what the best-selling truck in America is, the Ford F-150. Looking for a new truck? Why are we messing around? Why are we thinking about anything else? You want the best? Go get it at your Mississippi Ford dealers today. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The draft came and went. The Saints, A+. Great draft. The best draft.
I honestly thought that they may just go ahead and put the Lombardi Trophy in New Orleans.
Honestly, though, I do really like what happened this weekend. A lot, really. So I don't know how to feel about that. They're going to go 2-15 now that I said that. But some Mississippi guys went, and a lot more were picked up as undrafted free agents. We'll start with the one that we expected. The first pick of the second round, DeJon Stribling to San Francisco. A little bit earlier than some people thought. He was one pick away from being a first-rounder, but that is a system in which a receiver like him can absolutely thrive in terms of fit. That's a great fit for a guy like him with his size, his speed, everything. System, other than the power facility that's right next to the practice field. Couldn't ask for a better spot for him to go.
No, it's a good situation, good team, good franchise. Like you said, other than the problem of electromagnets. Magnets, yeah! It's a great pickup.
4th round, Brennan Thompson becomes the first Mississippi State receiver in quite some time to be selected to the L.A. Chargers, and he's got a quarterback that has the arm that can make his speed count.
We talked about that on what it will be tomorrow's Thunder and Lightning podcast, and yes, Brennan Thompson going to Los Angeles to play with Justin Herbert in that offense. It feels like a match made in heaven. Plus, don't forget, San Diego. I cannot get past it.
Never get past it. I do Oakland with the Raiders.
Yeah. The Chargers, their offensive coordinator is Mike McDaniel, and if anybody can scheme plays, look, great head coach, no, not even close, but great offensive coordinator, very much so. I think Thompson will be an interesting weapon with McDaniel calling the plays.
Yeah, and as you guys know, 4th round means that they expect you to make the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a guy that they selected with the anticipation of playing. Yeah. Super late round picks, not so much. UDFAs, you've really got to work hard to make the roster. 4th rounder is expected to make the team. So that means a lot for him, and obviously to get the elephant out of the room with Mississippi State wide receivers.
Yes, finally. It has happened. I hope I'm not doing this show in 2056 and we're talking about, it hasn't happened since Brennan Thompson.
No, because I think there's going to be another one next year.
I think Anthony Evans will keep that streak alive next year. I agree.
The next off the board, Seydou Traoré to the Miami Dolphins in the 5th round.
So there was a lot of buzz in the past few weeks about Traoré being a late round pick. What I learned, though, is that because Traoré is a member of the NFL's IPP, the International Player Pathway, which is a program designed to get players from outside the United States into the NFL, he does not count against the roster. So
that's why the Saints have been able to have 2 kickers for as long as they've had.
So that makes him really valuable, that you can have this guy on your roster, and if he turns out great. But if you don't have to, you get an extra guy on your roster, basically. So great for him. Shout out to South London and Seydou Traoré. We'll see how he does.
And finally, only 4 this year. Ole Miss offensive tackle Jaden Williams went to the Cardinals in the 7th round. He didn't even get invited to the Combine, but he had a great Shrine Bowl, apparently, and found his way to the Cardinals. 7th round pick, going to have to work a little bit to make the roster, but still. I am stunned that is all.
Yeah.
Stunned. And especially Daquan Wright. The tight end draft this year was weird.
Well, think about it like this. Seydou Traoré over Daquan Wright? I mean, you have the advantage of, like I said, not counting against your roster, but my goodness, Daquan Wright's a great player.
And, Xavier Harris not getting drafted. I know there's a lot of questions about motor with him, but, I'm surprised that nobody with a 6th or a 7th round pick took a flyer on a guy with his size and physical ability. Yeah, he's got motor issues, but I was surprised to see those 2 guys not go. But here's your list of UDFAs and where they're ending up. Starting with Ole Miss, Wyatt Williams, a safety, signed with Arizona. Diego Pounds signed with Baltimore. Has a chance to make that roster, or at least get practice squatted there with Baltimore. Taj Chambers with the Colts, the linebacker. Trey Wallace, the receiver, to Arizona. Daquan Wright got picked up by Philly. I think I saw a Philly the guy that covers the Eagles say that they think that Daquan's going to make that roster. We'll see. Kapina Gushikin, also with the Eagles. He had an excellent pro day. One of those, with all due respect to the young man, I feel bad saying stuff like this, but his pro day did not match his ability on the field. Like his pro day was awesome, and it's where was that guy?
I'm not the biggest Ole Miss fan in the world, as you know, but I feel like I follow that team pretty closely. Who? I have no recollection of this player whatsoever.
Yeah. Devon Booth got picked up by the Cleveland Browns.
Him I know.
Yes, you do. Chance to make that team, too.
I think so.
Cleveland drafted another quarterback. What
Yeah.
What are they doing? But that doesn't affect him, obviously. Albert Reese, the offensive tackle, got picked up by the Panthers.
Kind of surprised that could have been a guy who went in the 7th round, but works out for him.
And if you're one of these players, you don't want to get
you
drafted
want to be
round.
able to pick your best situation, your ideal situation. I've always thought that, yeah.
Safety Jerron Manning got picked up by the Falcons, so Hadad, I hate to tell you.
I don't like him anymore.
You got to hate him now.
I said that today on the podcast. Yeah, it's just we had a good run, Jerron, but now it's over.
It is over. Nevaeh Sanders, the linebacker, got picked up by Seattle.
That guy got picked up more about what he did at Northern Illinois than Mississippi State. Did not make much of an impact for the Bulldogs.
Nick Mitchell got picked up by the Titans, also linebacker.
Good for him. Good kid. Always came down to talk with us. Just a guy that played hard, I thought.
Diego Brumfield got picked up by the Eagles, the defensive back.
Yeah, okay.
And that's all for Mississippi State. Janellen Dupree from Jackson State, the wide receiver, got picked up by the Browns. Also, defensive tackle Jeremiah Williams got picked up by the Vikings. Quincy Ivory got picked up by the Bucks, the defensive end there from Jackson State as well.
Nobody from Southern Miss?
I'm still scrolling.
Okay.
And the undrafted free agent guys, just to be fully transparent with you, it's a long road to make a roster for a UDFA. Some of them do it. It's not totally uncommon. Jared Ivey did it last year, made the 53-man as a UDFA. So it's possible, but a lot of these guys will end up on practice squads or, quite frankly, playing in the UFL. That's not a bad thing, mind you. They can play well in the UFL and get picked up. It'll happen when this season ends in the UFL. A bunch of those guys are going to sign with NFL teams too. So next year's, as we said before, next year's draft is going to be a heck of a lot more interesting around here than this year's draft.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, yes.
So there you go. That's Draft Talk Mississippi for you.
Yeah. I like the Saints draft. I didn't particularly like Tyson, but they obviously had a plan. It's like, we're going to get some players in here to surround Tyler Shuck with offense. We believe in our defense. I'm hopeful that the fact that they didn't really go out and get a pass rusher means they feel like they can possibly get Cam Jordan back in the fold.
But they did get, what's his name, from New England, right? The free agent. I forget his name. Gosh, I feel stupid.
I don't remember. I mean, I don't know who you're talking about. From New England?
Yes, I think. Braylon Braxton, by the way, got picked up by the Saints. They just announced this a little while ago, so he'll be in the Saints quarterback room. Carl Chester got picked up by the Seahawks. So those are the two so far for Southern Miss.
There you go.
Cool. Right. Braylon Braxton, a Saint. That's
I like that. Yeah. Good player. Really good player.
Rattler's going to be on the move.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Because they picked up Zach Wilson, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, it's your college football fix driven by Ford. Mike Bianco when we return.
From the Sports Talk Mississippi to the Junction, in the Grove, and to the top. Sports Talk Mississippi on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. We go to the Farm Bureau guest line one more time, the fourth time today. Busy day. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Mike Bianco joins us right now off of the Georgia series. They got one from the Bulldogs this weekend. And, Coach, let's start with Saturday. You have a 9-inning doubleheader. One of them goes 14 innings. Is that the longest day of baseball that you have coached?
I don't know. We'd have to, look into the annuals, right, to figure that out. I remember Sunday here in a regional where we beat Georgia Tech and then had to play Murray State right after, and that was a marathon game. Not that many innings, but we scored a ton of runs in that game, so it was a long day. But I think probably innings and minute-wise, it was probably I think the game 2 was 6 hours or something like that. So yeah, you're talking about over 9 hours, just on the field. That's not counting pregame and the hour in between. So it was a long day.
Do you have any special tricks to keep your team sharp in between those games or throughout the course of the game? Like we saw during the World Baseball Classic, the Italian team had an espresso machine in their dugout. Do you guys have anything like that to keep the boys going for 23 innings?
No, and it's always a little bit of a debate. We went 50 minutes in between, and we, it's always a discussion. Is shorter better? Is longer better? We've done pretty good. We got the statistics, of the doubleheaders, since we've been here, at home. So, but it is a long day. I don't think there's any, special magic to it.
And so you have a big comeback in game 1. You're down 8-0. You do get that grand slam, but then the flurry of runs in the bottom of the 8th. What did that say about your team in that spot to get punched in the mouth the way they did and respond the way they did?
But it's kind of been the way we seem to have at least one of those games. It seems like throughout a series, and I think in the league you have to. You've heard me say this on your show as well. The line between good and bad and win or lose is so razor thin in our league that sometimes you need a big homer or a big inning, to pull you out. And then the other part is to be able to keep, the big inning from happening on the other side of the ball, right? And, credit our guys for hanging in there, but it's not the first time we've done that, obviously, but, obviously that was big. And I think it started with follies, it would have been too much, at 8-0, but to get it to 8-4 and then another home run to 8-5. And, as you start to inch a little closer, I think everybody feels that you have an opportunity.
And that was just a wild game, too. Crazy catches, incredible environment. We asked the other two coaches this earlier today. Do you, in that spot, kind of stop yourself and say, this is really fun? Like, I'm having a great time. Do you allow that thought to get into your head during games like that?
No, I think we all enjoy it. I mean, it was a great day of baseball. But really, bittersweet if you even want to, compare it or, use that, little saying, when you lose, when you're out there that long and, you're on the wrong side of the scoreboard, it's much better to win the second game and, and finish the day with a win. But yeah, I think when you're a little reflective and you step back, I mean, from a fan, if you just like college baseball, man, it was amazing. You had a little bit of everything, right? You had homers, you had some scoring, you had some great pitching and relief, you had some great defensive plays. And unfortunately for us, we had opportunities but couldn't cash in. And so, credit their pitching staff, but it was a great day of baseball, but unfortunately the last game that day didn't go our way.
A handful of guys banged up as well this weekend. Do you have any update on the injury status of a handful of your guys, unfortunately?
No, guys getting, feeling better today, but just, kind of, I hate to sound like the football coach, but, game time decision, I think for Tuesday against State. I know, when you play a game like that, against your arch rival, everybody, wants to be a part of it. That's why we do it, but, we also have to be smart for the weekend ahead. So we'll have to wait and see.
And then how much of that, back to the doubleheaders and pitching strategy, a listener asked us this question earlier. I'll just relay it to you. How much does a doubleheader and having to play that many innings in just 2 days impact what you have available for tomorrow night in Pearl for the Governor's Cup?
Oh, it affects everything, and the weekend does that, and that's no different. I don't necessarily mean for an extra innings game, but I think at this time in the year, you want to win on Tuesday, but you need to protect guys. You need to make sure that you don't do something that jeopardizes. Anytime you go out on the field, obviously there's an opportunity for something not good to happen, from roll an ankle to pull a hamstring or anything like that. But at the end of the day, from a pitching side of things, you want to make sure that you're smart. I've always said, and I'll never back away. The 30 games, the 10 game, the 10 weekends, those are the most important. But the Tuesday games matter a lot. And above the 26 non-conference games, this one's, the number one, most important game because of, who you're playing. And I'm sure what I'm saying is, no different for, Brian O'Connor or Mississippi State. You realize what's at hand and you want to play well tomorrow. But, again, you gotta do right by the players as well.
Have you made a decision yet on what your pitching plan tomorrow is going to be?
Yeah, we'll start Owen Kelly.
Owen Kelly going to start tomorrow. Speaking of pitching, so in the Tennessee series, we talked about how Taylor Ray, didn't have his best start of the season. He comes back in Game 3. It was in a loss, but against one of the most explosive offenses in the country. He gives you 6 complete and only gave up 3 runs. That was a really nice bounce-back outing for him.
It really was, and just a tremendous outing, and one that, I think he needed, we needed, and he gave us an opportunity to win, and really, to be honest with you, he gave up, that third run in the 7th, and, it was unfortunate for him, but, we were really, because of the doubleheader, probably stretching him an inning a little further than we wanted, not for health reasons, but because of, where we were with the bullpen. And, but he was as good as he's pitched all year. And like you said, against arguably, not just one of the best, the best offense maybe statistically in the SEC, but maybe in the country, he was outstanding.
Going to Fayetteville this weekend, I know it's one game at a time. You got Mississippi State tomorrow, but I am curious. You and Dave Van Horn have been in this league for a long time, coached a lot of games against each other. Have you guys established like a friendship over the years? What is your relationship like with your upcoming opponent's head coach?
I think we get along, great, and we're close to the same age. He's a little older than me, but we're close to the same age, and he's kind of followed the same path. I mean, he was at Northwest State, and I was at East, and he went on to Alabama, and then we met up in in this league, and buddy, a few years ago. I don't know what the stat is. I'm sure you guys can run it down. We've coached against each other, Dave and I, more than any 2 coaches in the history of the SEC in any sport. In baseball, obviously, we play a lot more games, but that's saying something. And obviously, he's had a tremendous amount of success at Arkansas. So that I know there's mutual on both sides, and we get along great. But again, it's not like we're best friends. It's hard, I think, in the realm. Everybody asks, "Hey, you guys friends?" It's on vacation together, very rarely, if we do have time, I'm with my family if I'm not here.
Coach, we really appreciate your time. Safe travels this week. A lot of travel for your guys. We'll see you tomorrow night in Pearl, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
It's Mike Bianco, head baseball coach at Ole Miss, after losing 2 of 3 to Georgia. Had opportunities in that second game on Saturday. Hadad just could not get that one, hit to win that series and sweep that doubleheader, and they lost 2 of 3 to Georgia.
Kind of felt like with the way that you played that long in a day, right? You play like Coach Bianco was saying there for that long, that many innings. Whoever won the second game was probably always going to win the third game, right? It was just probably losing after playing for that long is a gut punch, and Ole Miss they just couldn't get back in it, and that's they had been on such a hot streak. They got to bounce right back against an Arkansas team that has been up and down this year. So Rebels got a big series this weekend, as do all of the teams here in the state of Mississippi.
We'll talk some baseball when we come back. This is, of course, Sports Talk Mississippi. So glad that you guys are with us. Appreciate the 4 coaches that joined us today on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Hey, Dad, so we're done with Jeff Lebby availabilities for a while now, aren't we? Spring practice is over.
Spring practice is over. We are efforting.
There you go. See?
To have Jeff, to have Coach Lebby join us, join me for an interview that we'll bring here to the show, to the podcast, everywhere else. So we're working on that. Nice. We are working on it.
and Pete Golding talked today. I will cut some of that up tonight so we can play that for you tomorrow as well. So coaches just all over these airwaves. But let's talk about what happened on the baseball field this past weekend. We'll do that when we return.
From the Seabrook
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports. On your radio and in the game. Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. Glad that you guys are with us. I can't figure out how to feel about what happened with Ole Miss this weekend.
Okay.
And they had opportunities, coulda, shoulda, woulda won the series. They did not. Georgia's really good. Rabe was much better. I don't think that you're going to get an outing from Elliott and Townsend like you got combined again. I mean, it's just anomalies in their starts. The bullpen was largely pretty awesome for Ole Miss this weekend. So there's a lot to like there, but offense completely disappeared. I mean, just completely disappeared in Game 3. And this is going to sound crazy. But hey, they were down 8-0 in Game 1.
Right.
Here's how they scored the 10 runs that won the game. Home run, home run, home run, home run, home run.
That doesn't sound crazy at all. That sounds like a very typical Ole Miss game.
Right. And so the things that carried them to series wins, good ones, over the last few weeks, it kind of felt like they reverted back to And, I mean, part of that is Georgia's really darn good. And so you don't want to overreact to a very close series loss against a really good team. Metrically, still Ole Miss is fine. But just a missed opportunity. That's really what this weekend is.
That's
a
one
missed
way to look
opportunity.
At it. The other side of that coin, though, is they were losing 8-0 in that first game.
In the first game.
And that's usually, with Georgia especially, you probably should have been swept. So getting one from them may, in retrospect, look like a win. I was thinking about that this weekend with State. Like, if State had they could have lost both series to Georgia and to Tennessee. Could have lost 2 out of 3. If they had just won games in those 2 games, they'd be tied for first in the SEC right now. So avoiding the sweep when you're playing Georgia is, I don't know if Georgia's going to win the national title, but they're playing like the best team in the SEC right now. They're leading the conference. They look like they're going to win the conference. They're playing really good baseball. And to get a win in a game where you trailed 8-0 is pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, to Starkville.
Mm-hmm. What a weird damn series.
Sweep.
So, I said last week, talking about LSU, the series are always weird, right? And the way I termed it on the podcast today was State played the Uno reverse. Usually, I have seen a lot of LSU series go that exact same way. Crazy comeback, and then Game 3, they just pulverize you, right? Because you're just out of pitching and you're just tired of losing. And that's what happened with State. State trailed 3-0 going into the bottom of the first in every game. If I had told you on Friday that Valinkas, Stone, and Foster were going to give you the pitching performances they did, you would have said State got swept. No chance that they won any games with their starting pitching being that bad. Valinkas, first real dud this year. Stone just didn't have it early. And then Foster, he's just been inconsistent, right? But instead, State got back to a little bit of the manufacturing of runs and finding some timely hits. They did have some power this weekend, obviously. 2 all-time moments. Maluski's moment was good. Parker's moment is one that will be remembered for a long, long time. I think part of that's because he's a freshman, and there's a lot of hope that he's going to be the next great Mississippi State baseball player. But that Grand Slam was absolute electricity in that stadium. And then on Sunday, again, you fall behind 3-0. And being out in the lounge, Borkey, I'm telling you that at 3-0, everybody was like, got them right where we want them. Everybody was confident because they knew runs were going to happen. And they did. And State puts up 13 runs. Aiden Teal gets a home run late. Parker has a couple of doubles. Ace Reese with a home run. They just dominated them. And look, let's just be clear about one thing. LSU is not a good baseball team. They're not going to be making postseason play. They're 6-15 in the SEC.
Wild.
They've been swept 3 weekends in a row now by Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and now Mississippi State. They play South Carolina this weekend, who is now ahead of them in the standings, I might add. Loser of that game. I mean, right now, if we were doing the old way and you had to, bottom two didn't go to Hoover, LSU wouldn't go. So that's something there. State's won 7 in a row now. Big game tomorrow for both of these teams, for State and Ole Miss, because it's going to be a great boost to your resume. Somebody is going to get a neutral site quad 1 win tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a great thing for your resume.
And these are two teams right there on the are they hosting, are they not hosting conversation.
Yeah. State's next 3 series are against number 3, number 6, and number 5 in the RPI. So they're 13-8. 16 wins will host. No questions asked. They will definitely host.
Yes.
17 wins, and I feel like you're on the line of being an 8, the 8 seed, and maybe getting to host the Super Regional. 18 wins, and you're definitely hosting a Super Regional. So everything State wants to do is just right there in front of them, but they've got a really tough road in front of them with Texas, at Texas, Auburn at home, and then Texas A&M on the road to finish it up. Going to be a very interesting final 3 weeks of the season in Starkville.
That is a crazy schedule. I mean, that's life in the SEC, though. For what it's worth, Ole Miss, if they're going to get to that magic number of 16, they're in Fayetteville, they host A&M, and then go to Alabama. So, I mean, what's the path? 2 in Fayetteville, 2 in College Station, 1 in Tuscaloosa? Or no, not in College Station.
Ole Miss has 11, right?
Yes, they have 11 wins right now.
They need 15. So I think 15 would.
They're hosting at 15 and 15. If they win the Governor's Cup, maybe.
Well, I mean, at 15 and 15, their RPI is going to be incredible. Yeah, they need to win 15 games.
But here's the
win a series. Don't get swept on the road and win the home series, and you should be good.
Here's the counter question to that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is the committee going to give Mississippi 3 hosts?
Possibly. It just depends.
Because we know they get weird with stuff like that.
Southern Miss has to keep – if everybody in the state of Mississippi keeps winning, if Ole Miss finishes with 16 wins, State finishes with 17 wins, and Southern Miss is second in the Sun Belt and they don't drop a series that they shouldn't drop, it's going to be really difficult to explain why you wouldn't do it. I know that the populations are different, but Florida has gotten 3 regionals. Texas has gotten 3 regionals in the past. Mississippi has 3 of the top teams in the nation this year. You got to reward them. That's just how it has to be.
It's how it has to. It's how it should be. But is that how it will be? I'm a little bit more cynical when it comes to selection committees. We've seen this song and dance before. Teams getting hosts that they don't deserve.
Oh, you're right.
Stuff like that.
And like we said, the other day, and look, Kansas is up to 12 in the RPI.
Yeah, they keep winning. That helps a lot.
They keep winning. They're going to get a regional in all likelihood because they're going to be the Big 12 champion. Is the second-place team in the Big Ten, that's Nebraska right this second. Are they good enough to host a regional? Probably. But are they, better than Mississippi State and Ole Miss? I don't think so. So, I mean, and then you've got some things like, you look at the top 16 in RPI. Florida's not hosting right now. They're 11-10 in the SEC. They're 29-16 overall. They're so up and down. Last week was the first time they've had consecutive series results go the same way. They've lost 2 series in a row for the first time this year, losing to A&M. They've got a series coming up with LSU. Can't lose to them. LSU is at the point now where if you lose to the Tigers, that's a bad loss. You can't afford it. LSU is 64th in the RPI. You can't have those losses. So Florida probably isn't going to host. Just trying to look. USC is going to be down the list a little bit. They're a good team. They're 9th in the RPI. They're 34-11 overall, but their strength of schedule is 36. So we'll see. State's strength of schedule is 31. Ole Miss, what helps them, and why I said they'll host at 15 wins, their strength of schedule is 5.
It's 5, yeah.
It's 5. They currently have no bad losses. It just keeps fluctuating with Memphis. Memphis is sitting at 120 in the RPI. If they drop below 120, that becomes a quad 3 loss for Ole Miss.
And that would be their only one.
That would be their only one. But we're talking about fine margins here, Michael.
Yeah,
it could go one. It could literally go one way or the other. So they need to keep that win in the good side of things. If you look at the top 16, only Southern Miss with 2 and UCLA, strangely enough, with 2. Kansas has 2 as well. Now think back, Florida has 3 quad 4 losses. That's why they're probably not going to host.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you have 3 teams with 2 and then everybody else with 1 or 0.
But then you loop in the quad 3 in there.
Quad 3,
a lot more.
Yeah, because you've got Southern Miss has 3. So that's that's USM's biggest problem right now. Of the top 16, they have 5 what we would term bad losses. Mm-hmm. Whereas, for example, Mississippi State has none. Ole Miss has none. USC has 2. Oregon State has 2. Now, one of those losses for Oregon State, not a bad loss, but they did lose to Southern Miss. But USM playing ULM this weekend, I mean, I hate to make these predictions, but you got to sweep. You got to sweep ULM. You can't.
Got to.
You can't. What was ULM in the? Can I find them? ULM they're 142. Those are home games against 142. You've got to get all 3. It's just that simple.
Somebody says Ole Miss lost to Memphis. Yes, as Hadad just laid out, they are not in the quad 3 or 4.
They are on the bottom. They are as low as you can get and still be a quad 2. Yes. If Memphis loses another game, they drop to quad 3.
Go Tigers, go, or whatever. Hadad's going to step away, and I will carry you the rest of the way. Sports Talk Mississippi. He will see you tomorrow at 3. I'll see you after this short break, and we'll wrap the show up with you next.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi.
You know I love sports.
On Super Talk Mississippi.
One more time with you, Sports Talk Mississippi. So glad that you guys are with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get them. This show uploaded for you free of commercials every single day. Takes 15 minutes or so after we get off the air for it to get uploaded. But it's there for you. Wherever you get your podcast, just search Sports Talk Mississippi, and you can find us there. Also, if you want a little extra Mississippi State, Brian Hadad's Thunder and Lightning. If you want a little extra Ole Miss, the Rebel Report. Me. You want more of me? I don't know why you would, but if you do, I've got you covered there. All right, here's your daily NCAA is incompetent story. They're currently going through this debate whether or not to change the eligibility rules to just straight up, you have 5 years, and that's what you have, and there's no waivers, there's no redshirting, nothing. Just you have 5 years to play. That's it. Hidden in this effort, in the 5 to play 5 write-up, if you will, is this. Transfers and tampering enforcement. Here's what the NCAA says. They're trying to push through. At the request of the Big Ten Conference, the board unanimously adopted a narrow change to rules for the notification of transfer process, allowing schools to decline to enter student-athlete into the transfer portal only if the student-athlete agreed to release the school from that requirement as part of a valid settlement-related benefits agreement with the school for the period of that agreement. So think buyout. The school will not enter a player into the portal unless the player and the school agree to their buyout. But here's the money quote. Pun kind of intended. The board also introduced a proposal that would direct the infractions process to presume violations occurred in cases of impermissible contact with transfer students. If the proposal is adopted by the Division I cabinet in June, schools suspected of tampering with student-athletes prior to their entry into the transfer portal would need to demonstrate the violation did not occur to avoid penalties. That was really wordy. The NCAA, if they pass this, would direct the infractions process to presume guilt until innocence is proven. Now, that is, overall, just an anti-American principle. Beautiful thing about this country is you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Aside from that, and aside from the fact that it's probably illegal, how can somebody possibly prove that they didn't do that? How can you prove a negative? I think you tampered. Well, I didn't. Prove it. How? How do you prove that communication did not happen? If the presumption is guilt, look at my call logs. Well, that's not definitive. How do you prove it? This is not only probably illegal, it is impossible to enforce. When already the NCAA is as incompetent and incapable of true enforcement, you're going to add this to their plate, and you think that it's going to work, and it's going to function well, and it's going to create the intended result? That's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And so even if we get the SCORE Act passed, if Congress steps in and saves college sports like we want, the current proposal keeps the NCAA in charge. And I don't know why, guys, I don't know why people still think that this is the organization that should run college sports. Infractions, according to their release, they're trying to push this through, thanks to the Big Ten. They're trying to push this, again, direct the infractions process to presume violations occurred. They would need to demonstrate the violation did not occur to avoid penalties. That's an absurdity. And it's impossible to enforce, and it's probably illegal. And those are the people that we still want to run college sports. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. And last bit of news, I can bring this up since Hadad is not here. Brody Miller, friend of the program, Brody Miller, reporting that Live Golf Louisiana, supposed to be in New Orleans. There's been a lot of government money that has gone into restoring the course and just paying Live to show up. Will be, quote-unquote, postponed, possibly to the fall. It's large. It seems like it's not going to happen at all. Then postponed. Lack of funds. The Louisiana side is telling Live that it needs to, they will not allow the event to continue until the golf league has found more stable funding. It's a mess. But yeah, the dominoes are starting to fall with the alternative golf league. That's it for us. I will see you guys tomorrow at 3 from the Pearl River Resort Studio. This has been Sports Talk Mississippi. Good night.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.